Park Chan-wook's films have been described as subverting the conventions of narrative. I think the same could definitely be said of Wentworth Miller's screenplay. What particularly impressed you about it when you read it for the first time?
For me, I just thought it was I got it very late. I mean, the film was going to go, and then Colin Firth was meant to be playing the part that I ended up playing, but he couldn't do it just due to whatever reasons. And so I read it very quickly initially, and I was like, oh my God, this is, I mean, it's just a brilliant character, something I'd never done before, but the story was it was slow-paced and disturbing, and I'm not really a horror buff. I don't think this is a horror genre. It flits in and out of different ones, but I just thought that it was a very simple, it was a weirdly simple story, and stripped back and quite bare, and I don't know, I think whenever you read something and you can see the film in your head, as weird as that may sound, you get a real feeling for it, then those are the ones you want to do, so yeah.
And the dialogue, though, is pretty sparse, isn't it? And there's a lot conveyed by sort of looks and mood. I just wondered
That's what I would say. It's like, even though it's written by an American, so a native English speaker, one of the reasons that the film is sort of slightly operatic, which is, I think, akin to some Korean filmmaking, is because it is quite sparse, and there's a reason that they're saying every single word, and some people will think it might be a little bit stilted because of that. I don't know, but yeah, it's all about it's like one big climax, really. It's glacial to start with, and then stuff starts happening. But he's a master of the camera, man. I mean, it's ravishingly shot. So.
I mean, like a Single Man and Watchmen, it is visually stunning and is in very detailed, but still has an emotional pull as well. But what do you
both the DOPs are incredibly young on those. Edu Grau, and then you got Chung Hoon Chung, who's like this film is just beautifully shot for such a young DOP. Anyway, sorry.
And do you particularly enjoy working with directors that have a very strong sort of vision? I guess most directors do, but I think this is distinctive, isn't it?
I think it's every director comes at it from a different sort of standpoint. And when we arrived in Nashville when we were filming, we got given this folder and we're like, what's this? Open it up and it's every frame of the film, it's like pre-drawn, and like he's already made his mind up about how he's going to shoot his film. So 90% of it is done in his head, and the actors bring possibly 10% of mystery for him. It's like, oh, only 10%? Yeah, so it's important to work with, if you can, it's not easy to get into these bloody films. It took me months chasing this job. It's very competitive.
It's worth it. You had to fight Colin Firth.
It's definitely worth it. Yeah. Well, I had to fight. It was all the other boys I had to fight off to get it. So.
There's something very unnervingly mysterious about Charlie from the off, but Evie and India fall for his charms. What about Charlie did you sort of fall for? What drew you to him?
Well, I think because it's kind of a coming-of-age drama, really, for me as a character. I mean, who is sort of the central figure of it, and her sexual awakening. But it's also because Charlie's been travelling for 20 years, he's been away. It's difficult to answer because he's not a whodunit, this thing. Pretty early on about the sociopathic nature of Uncle Charlie. But there's also something kind of childlike. He's trapped in his past as well, and psychologically damaged. So there's many things that you're going to go, I don't want the audience, I don't want to have to kind of like, this is tick for the audience. Did you get that? Good. And then this is another thing. Did you get that? I wanted it to be as subtle as, I think, as bare as the script was. And sometimes I think it's good for an audience to go home not knowing all the answers. And that's what's great about working with Park Chan-wook, because he's really on board with that.
And this is Jackie Weaver's
collaborative man.
Character Gwendolyn is when she's sitting in her motel room. There's a nature film playing, and also when Charlie's relaxing at home.
Yes.
The sibling rivalry in the birds and that kind of thing they're talking about. But could Stoker be seen, to some extent as a kind of nature film about humans? You think?
Yeah, you can. No, that's what Director Park always talked about. The main theme of a film being about bad blood, and whether there is a predisposition within the genetic bloodline to do naughty things, and how that changes through the next new wave simply is more intelligent and more dangerous. So there is that element of sort of nature-nurture within it completely. And there's a lot of imagery, from that, which is all over this film. I think it's one of those ones that all actors say, that you probably need a second watching, maybe even a third. But it really does, it's very layered. There's a lot of stuff in there that explains everything.
And Nicole Kidman's phenomenal as Evie. What do you particularly admire about her as a fellow performer?
She just has great choices, over a very long period of time. I watched her in BMX Bandits back in 1980, whatever it is, and I had this weird moment where we were having a kiss, and the thing I just suddenly remembered sitting in the cinema, like 7 years old, watching it, thinking, I've had a bit of a weird life, haven't I? But she's, yeah, great choices and a great lady and, like, classy. Just a classy girl. I love her.
Matthew Good, thanks very much.
Thanks very much, man.
Thank you.